Wait, EG. What?
EG.
Oh, we're live.
Hey.
Do you mind grabbing it? It's on that bedside table. Okay, guys, we're live and we're here to react to Aiden.
Would you grab me one from out of the cooler?
Thank you.
I'll pray about it.
You'll pray about it.
Thank you so much, EG. We are live from Talladega, and we are currently in a Johnston RV, and it's very spacious.
It is.
We're sitting at it's like a diner booth right now, and we are here to react to Aden Holloway committing to Alabama. Dunaway, Bama homer. Me,
wow.
Auburn homer. So this is we have a good dynamic here. We can get both sides of the story, I think. So I'll give you a brief take on it for me.
Okay.
So my thought always on transfers is if you don't want to be here, like if he wanted to transfer because he wasn't passionate about playing at Auburn, whether that be because of playing time or whatever.
Right.
I don't know what his relationship was like with, his teammates. I think I saw Janai Broom posted something about him. I think it was when he posted about leaving to go to Alabama. Janai Broom posted it and said, "Go be great," or something like that. I haven't heard anything about him having issues with anyone there, but if he's not fully bought in, then I don't think that.
Don't let the door hit you in the butt.
Right. It's like, I don't have a problem with him. My favorite video is actually one that EG took, and it's him hugging that little kid. I don't know if it was before the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament when they were leaving, but I don't have an issue with him. But I don't want him playing for Auburn if he doesn't want to play for Auburn.
Oh, I think a lot of Alabama football fans felt the same way with the players that left right after Nick Saban retired. You know, if you don't want to be here, we'll get somebody else that'll jump in and play.
Right.
I think every fan base should feel that way. Here's my quick take.
Okay.
When this started to bubble up, I instantly thought, I don't know if I would want Aden Holloway on my team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought. But Nate Oates and his coaching staff have done the evaluations. Obviously he was a massive recruit. He's one of the biggest recruits in Auburn history. But when you watch, recruiting is one thing. When you watched him play 30 games plus last year, you thought to yourself, okay, how does he fit in at Alabama? And I tweeted, I said, we'll see how this works out. If you think I'm sitting here thinking this is going to be one of the best moves in Alabama basketball history, or that he's a game changer for Alabama next year, I can't promise you that right now, because I think this is a roll of the dice, because you've seen him for one season in SEC play under a different system at a different school, but it was not good when they got to conference play. A change of scenery absolutely was needed. I think there is always in this state a little bit more of a roll of the dice when you go from Alabama to Auburn or Auburn to Alabama. It just doesn't happen a lot. And I would imagine to be the same way if it was Duke to North Carolina or if it was Michigan State to Michigan. It just, when you flip the script on the rivalry, it makes your former teammates and your former coaches a little bit more juice and more focus for that game. And, it makes it a little harder on your new team. So I don't know yet. I know a lot of people are waving the flag tonight.
Yeah, well, for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah.
And it's not because he proved himself last season.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm a wait and see guy on this one. For me, the biggest thing that needs to happen for Alabama first is Mark Sears comes back. If Mark Sears comes back, then how does that work out? Aden Holloway's a really good point guard. Love him with the basketball. Gets up the court quick. Good at delivering the ball out on the perimeter. But him shooting, maybe a change of scenery, he'll be able to shoot. But I saw him hit 5 threes in one game. A lot of his SEC play was not good shooting. And I hear a lot of stuff from people at Auburn of off the court stuff that, he's got to clean up, or he's going to be a guy who's taking a flight with you to their next tournament. Because if you're not doing things Nate Oates' way, he suspended Pringle for 2 games, and then he made him take his own flight out of his own pocket to make it to the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your shit together, then Aden Holloway is going to,
be in the same boat.
Have to take his own car to Neville Arena for the game if he's not fitting into the team. And I think fit is so important because when Pringle made it to the NCAA tournament and he had a different attitude, and they fit together as a team, what happened? They went to the Final Four.
Yep.
Yeah. During the year, they lost 11 games to some really, really good teams, and some of that it felt like it wasn't fitting together.
My thing is, I know this comes along with a rivalry, but my question is, remove the name, remove where he came from. It's, a random guy from somewhere that's not Auburn. And look at him statistically from this past season. What would Alabama fans' reaction be? Because it would not be what it is right now. And that's what frustrates me so much is going back and seeing the way, and I know it's part of the rivalry, but going back and seeing the way that Alabama fans talked about him all season, they feasted over the fact that he was a McDonald's All-American, he was a 5-star recruit, he was all this stuff, and then he had a few good games, and then like you said, once they got into SEC play, he struggled. And he's a freshman, and there's an adjustment that has to be made when you go from playing high school. But it's the fact that, people were saying, okay, so Aden Holloway is a 5-star recruit, that means that I can be. It's all this stuff. I'm sure they've all been deleted now. I have receipts. But it's just that the script can be flipped so fast.
It's so different to me in basketball than it is in football because the one and done is a real thing, right? It's a real thing. And so Aden Holloway, I thought was supposed to be a one and done guy. I expected him. He ends up being at Auburn 1 year. I expected him to be at Auburn 1 year. Yeah. When he was recruited, I expected him to be at Auburn 1 year and then to the NBA.
Right.
So obviously that didn't happen for him. So I keep going back. Time will tell. Why did it not work at Auburn?
Yeah.
Why did it not work at Auburn?
And let's talk about something that we've talked about before and y'all have talked about on the show is Stephen Pearl came on our show every week. And he said, because I remember this vividly because I pulled the clip and I quoted it. He said, every single time that he shoots the ball, we think it's going to go in. Our confidence has not wavered. And I think that or as an athlete, you would think that if your coaches are being hard on you, then that will make you lose confidence. It's if you're my coach and I miss a shot and you're like, what are you doing? Then that's going to make me hesitant. But it doesn't seem like that's what was happening.
Well, different people need to be coached different ways. I was a guy who needed to be coached by a guy who was on my ass all the time.
Yeah.
I needed to be pushed in practice. I needed hard coaching. Some people melt under that. I needed that.
So I wonder how that will, because he was allowed to shoot, and it doesn't seem. Again, we don't know what goes on in the locker room, but we heard what they said to us and what they said in press conferences is every single time that the ball left his hands, we thought that he was going to hit the shot. So I'm wondering how do you think that Nate Oates, I obviously know more about Auburn than I do Alabama, how do you think that Nate Oates, that will change in his program?
It's a free-flowing offense, but, I haven't been on social media because we're here live at Talladega right now, but did he say something about playing time or a promise that he received from his former coach or something? Did he tweet that or have you seen that?
I haven't, but Jeff is saying, and now, of course, he starts talking crap about Bruce and the coaching staff.
Yeah. You just look the way Nate plays. He's going to play a lot of players.
Yeah.
So if he's looking to be, Mr. on the court all the time, then he's going to get a rude awakening because that's not the way it plays at Alabama either. He plays a lot of players.
And that in any team sport, you can't have that mindset, I think. And that's I think it was it may have been Chad Baker-Mazzara this past season. He had started the game, they pulled him out, and I can't remember who went in for him, but whoever it was having a good game. And the assistant that kind of facilitates I don't know who it was. Yeah. It may have been.
Yeah.
But I don't know who facilitates the rotation, but they got Chad to put him back in, and he said, no, whoever it was is playing good, leave it. And so I feel like that's the way, you can't be selfish in any sort of team sport because if you're going to get pissed off about that. But I don't know. Okay, Jeff says that he said Bruce made promises to him. I don't know anything about that. I haven't read it either. We've been out and about here. But I'm interested to see how it goes. But that's the thing. And I posted a video on, I can't remember where I posted it, but it was when Aiden entered the portal, and there was talks of him. It was before he visited Alabama. It was talks of him visiting. And I said, if an Auburn player leaves, obviously they want to do what's best for them, and I respect that, and their, whatever their situation is. And I'm going to wish the best for whoever leaves. Like Alan Flanagan, I didn't have hard feelings for him. His dad went to Ole Miss. He went to Ole Miss. Whatever. I hope that he has success there. And I literally said in the video, I need to go find it, is the only reason that my opinion will change of a player once they leave is if they go out and start saying things like bad things about the program, bad things about the coaching staff, because I just feel like at that point it's unnecessary. If you feel like Auburn isn't the best place for you, then go find, wherever you think it is. But
that's why I'm waving the caution flag on this, because, if you're coming to Alabama, then go to Alabama. There's no need to talk about what it was like at Auburn. Just go to Alabama and write your story.
Right. And if people are asking why you chose to go there, then you say, I liked this about it. But I just think Bruce, Steven, and company were very supportive of him even when he was struggling. And so I think I haven't read it, but if he's coming out and saying that kind of, I just think that that's disrespectful in any manner, no matter, whether it's a job or whatever. If someone gives you an opportunity and supports you and you're struggling, and then you leave because you can and you have the right to, and then go back and do that to people that give you, I don't like that in any situation. Not just this.
Listen, if you're an Alabama fan, you hope that it's the best portal pickup, 24/7 rated to the top 100 portal players. He was 28th on the list, right behind Rylan Griffin, who was 27th on the list. So he and Rylan are about the same players. You're losing Rylan likely to Kansas, I think, is one of the places he's rumored to be going. So you hope you're getting someone who can come in and contribute as one of the best portal players. You hope he lives up to what his recruiting was. But I'm telling you, I've done this long enough that there is a reason why players don't meet expectations at schools, and then they transfer. And if it's not a coaching problem or a performance problem, if it's something that's off the court, and if that isn't cleaned up, that's going to follow you wherever you go. That sometimes changing jerseys or gyms or locations or NILs, whatever it is, isn't going to change that. If you are problematic off the court and you don't clean that crap up, then you're never going to get better. So maybe it's an eye-opening experience. He needs a new change of scenery, and he gets to Tuscaloosa and he cleans up all the off-the-court issues, and Nate and them have a better structure, or a structure that's different than what he was getting, that maybe fits him better, or maybe he is more welcoming to the structure this time. Maybe he is welcome to the coaching, or maybe he just grows up a little bit, and then maybe he lives up to his potential. But I am caution flag, very yellow on this, and we'll see how it plays out. If you tell me Aden Holloway is not with the team by the time the NCAA tournament starts next year, will not surprise me.
Wow. By the time the NCAA tournament starts next year.
I'm just saying that I've seen Nick Pringle, who, Alabama didn't have a lot of big men, right?
Yeah, and if he didn't want to get out there, he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Pringle, Alabama didn't have a lot of big men. They set him down for 2 games and then told him, if you want to play in the tournament, you apologize and you fly your way to Spokane. Yeah. And he was on the plane with you.
He sure was.
Right. So Alabama's got some guards if Sears come back, and if you can't be a team player, then you're not going to play. You're not going to play, and then you're gonna pout and get off the team, or are you going to grow up? Are you going to grow up? Right. So if you've had this problem before, if you don't clean it up, then you're not going to play, and then you're going to be pouting and get off the team. So you tell me, will he be there by the time they get to the NCAA tournament? Maybe he's first team All-American. Yeah. And I can go back and eat these words, but this is one of those things that when I saw it start, I was not very excited about.
So this is interesting, and I did see this on Twitter. And Alex said, I find it interesting he's wearing number 2, and that's Grant Nelson's number. So I don't know. When they go on these recruiting visits, they obviously put him in uniforms and they take all the pictures and stuff. And he was wearing, I saw that, and I saw someone comment on it. but I don't know that that's necessarily the number that they're going to. I don't know how that.
But he also was holding the Western Regional Championship trophy.
That is weird to me. That is very strange to me. I don't know why. Like, and that's just.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're a high school recruit coming in, you're gonna take a picture with that.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different because they're flaunting all of the. No matter where you go, they're like, look at this championship we won. Look at this. Look at that.
We're in the Final Four, but you were at a different school last year.
And Yale.
That was a weird picture.
I'm waiting for the Yale.
I mean, Grant Nelson, by the way. I mean, he has NBA opportunities, so he could still be gone. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Or maybe Grant Nelson was in the 2 and he really wanted another number.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted another number.
Maybe. Okay. Who said? Okay. So, oh wait, no, not that. Okay. So Tony said Taylor's heartbroken about this. Okay. This is if you weren't here at the start, I said that I'll give a Cliff Notes version of what I said. Basically, if a player's on the team, they don't want to be there, then I don't necessarily want them to be there either. I want, the team that I go for, I want the players to be bought into the program, to the system. I don't want them, 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door.
I don't think anybody wants that for their team.
Right. And so when he entered the transfer portal, like, I would love all season, you can probably go back on my Twitter and find out, I was like, I want Aden Holloway to get hot so bad. Because I could see, it was the Auburn, Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, and I was sitting, the first half, I sat on the same baseline both times, so I would get both teams coming, and the Auburn team walked off, like, that corner, and he struggled in the first half, and he was just hanging his head. And I watched him walk off the court, and I can't remember who was walking off with him. They were trying to, help him get out of his head a little bit. But I was like, he is in his own head. Like, he's frustrated, rightfully so. But if he wants to go, then go. And I don't think the coaching staff of any team wants a player that doesn't want to be there to be there. There's limited spots on a roster. There are limited scholarships and all of that. I mean, if he goes to Alabama and blooms and becomes who everyone thought he was going to be this season, potentially, then yeah, that'll hurt. And it'll be unbearable to...
yeah, I mean, it'll be hard to watch. It'll be hard to watch. But people, there are these portal things that happen all the time. Like Mark Sears. He didn't start at Alabama. He was at Ohio. But you know what Mark Sears was at Ohio? He was really good at Ohio.
Yeah.
Aaron Estrada was at Hofstra. You know where Aaron Estrada was? He was all conference. He was really good. Pringle was really good at Dodge City Junior College. Grant Nelson was really good at North Dakota State. So that's why you got to prove it to me, man. This isn't high school anymore, and you got to prove it to me. You got to come in. You got to buy into the team concept. You're walking into a program that was in the Final Four last year. So if you don't come in and add something to the team, if you take away from the team, then I'll look back and say this was a gamble that I wasn't very happy about.
Well, this is NH345 said Holloway will see minimal minutes next season. So if Mark Sears does come back, he is the NBA, he doesn't like what he's seeing there, and he wants to return, whatever. Yeah. Then what is his role? What does Aiden Holloway's role look like?
Well, in my opinion, if Mark Sears comes back, I think he's going to play more of a true point guard role. And not that he would take away from scoring, but I think he'll play more of a true point guard role because the NBA scouts that I sat by at the game, they want to see him. If he plays in the NBA, he is projected as a true point guard, right? A guy to run the offense because of his size and score. So that's what Aden Holloway plays. So to end to the comment there is now you're gonna share with Mark Sears, and you got the Malek kid who's coming in for Pepperdine. You got this guy coming in. You got these great recruits coming in. I mean, that roster's stacked. So if you come in and you're on the struggle bus like you were at Auburn, then
you're not going to see the core.
You're going to be on the. I mean, I follow Nick Kelly, Tuscaloosa News. There's one scholarship left open, and I look down the list, and there's nobody that I would say, oh, I can't see him on the court. I mean, there's that many players right now. They've got 12 guys that I saw play meaningful minutes last year for Alabama. Well,
and that's what Mark Sears was playing the full game. I mean, he was playing 40 minutes whenever they needed him to. He could any game. So that's why I'm wondering what the draw. I'm not saying Alabama's obviously a great program, but I'm like, with the question mark beside Mark Sears' name as to if he can still return. Like, he's not gone.
Yeah. But they may know something that we don't know, right? They may, the coaching staff may know, hey, Sears is probably going to go. And
Right.
I would say to Mark, when is his stock going to be higher?
Yeah.
Final Four, he was second team All-American. Maybe he can, improve his stock. Maybe they need to see something else from him.
But like that's what I'm wondering what he was told because of what you just said.
Yeah.
They have a lot of talent on the roster, and it's not like they can promise him playing minutes based off of what they saw last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, Alabama fans are comfortable with the fact they trust Nate. I mean, you'll see that everywhere. In Nate we trust, because the guy's been fantastic since he's been there. And he's okay bringing in big-time recruits and them not playing. They sit on the bench, and then sometimes they transfer. Sam Walters, I don't know what he averaged minute-wise, but he was a big-time recruit, and he's out the door. So, the portal works both ways. There were a couple of guys that left Alabama. Rylan Griffin, who was an Alabama recruit who I love, my favorite player, he's out the door. And so there's a lot of talent that leaves every basketball program. This may be my biggest miss ever, and maybe the perfect, addition to this basketball team, and they go on and win the national championship because of Aden Holloway.
That whoever said that this kills me, I feel good about Auburn next season. I think that our roster right now is better than it was last season. I'm fine. What kills me is social media. I'm not even going to get into that. But if he was the reason that are a big part of the reason that they won a national championship next season, I would probably need to be checked into some sort of institution. Yes. Okay, but let me ask you this, and this can be our last question. But going back to what I said earlier, if he wasn't from Auburn, if it wasn't a rivalry, like we took something away from you, and like based off of his stats last year, like would Alabama have gone after? Like what is it they went after him because of the pure potential?
I would tell you that coaches, and I think the Pearls would back this up, and Nate and all of his assistants were. The rivalry doesn't mean as much to them as it does to the fans, right?
Right.
They actually probably get along better than we all think they should, and they don't look at things like that. So Aden Holloway was recruited by his potential. He was one of the top recruits going into last season.
Yes.
So he's available. He's number 28 on the list, one of the guys that fits a need at Alabama. So it doesn't matter that he was wearing the Auburn jersey.
But
now, for the fans,
that is everything.
I think they're really excited about that. It could be addition for Alabama and subtraction for Auburn. And unless he's better than he was last year, I don't think he can see the court in Tuscaloosa. No shot at Auburn. I just don't think he can see the court in Tuscaloosa.
Well, what confuses me is
unless he gets better, he's got to get better.
Is he? I don't understand. Like they're going to be playing the same. I understand that the systems are different, but like they saw him play against the exact teams basically that he'll be playing against next year. Like they saw all of that. So what? And players get better from freshman, sophomore, junior. Like that happens.
They don't always
progress,
do that, but yeah.
Or they can progress.
Yeah.
But like what? I don't understand what the draw is. Okay, and then I want to talk as a fan for a second after this.
Yeah.
But
I would just say that they're hoping they can bring out the guy who is one of the top 3 recruits in college basketball. They're hoping they can tap into that and then press all the other stuff out. And it's just like relationships with men and women, right? Right? I'll tie the analogy together, right? How many girls or guys have I cannot believe that she's dating him. He's such a he cheated on so and so. He drinks on so and so, and that person always thinks he won't do it to me. I can make him a better man, or I can make her a better girl. And the coaches are the same way. I see his potential, and Bruce and the guys, they couldn't pull it out. I can pull it out of him. So Nate and them are going to try to pull it out of him. Oftentimes, in those relationships, cheaters cheat.
Hope just said I'm scared to listen to what's being said in this.
Wilkinson, I'm right.
No, your analogy didn't make sense at all because girls and boys aren't ranked. Like there's no on-3 database that's this girl is the top 3 recruit.
No, I'm just saying there is a girl out there that here comes this guy who's been through 6 relationships, and she's seen him cheat on all of her friends, and then he starts dating her, and she thinks he's not going to cheat on me. I can change him.
No, this is good. Bama football. Jim's analogies reminding me of when my last girlfriend hit the transfer portal. No, Mr. Optimistic, I disagree. He said the difference is Auburn stops you from shooting, I'm assuming that's a typo. If you're not hot, Bama just keeps shooting when we're not going to bench you. I don't agree with that. Aden Holloway shot.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot.
I will give him credit that he did realize sometimes he was shooting them out of games, and either he stopped shooting or something. But,
I don't think they ever said stop shooting.
No, they did not. They didn't say stop shooting. But
yeah, so that's what he's saying is Auburn will stop you and Alabama won't. I disagree. Which that's an opinion of mine, but I don't agree with that.
No, Alabama will stop you from shooting. They will put your ass on the bench, and you won't go back in there.
Okay, so now, wait, I had a question. Just not actual analysis, but just fan-wise.
I'll give you an example. Sam Walters played in more minutes some games than he did others. Usually when he hit a shot early on, he played more in those minutes. There were times, I'm trying to think of another player that I could use an example. Diabate played more. I mean, it just depends on who's having a good night. If you've got a deep roster, it is a free-flowing offense, and he wants you to shoot. But it doesn't mean you're not going to go to the bench if you're taking the wrong shots or if you're not making your shots. He will substitute you and put in somebody who will make shots.
That's okay. Jake said Auburn upgraded at the position, not a big deal at all. I think.
Have they filled that position yet?
So they had
3 guards that left, right?
They had
at least 2.
They had Trey and Aiden left. Yeah. We got a Furman transfer, JP.
JP Pegues.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know how to say his last name. We have recruits coming in the 2024 class.
Right.
It's it's not like
Yeah, but back to my analogy, everybody thinks their next girlfriend or boyfriend's an upgrade too, right?
Well,
you never know if it is until you get into it. So we'll see if JP Pegues is any good.
Right.
I'll wave the yellow flag on him too, but we
have...
never know until they start playing. All of you thought Aden Holloway was going to be, the best thing since sliced bread, and he wasn't.
Well, he wasn't, and Alabama fans loved to marinate in the fact that he wasn't. Yeah. But now he is. Now he is the greatest thing since sliced bread because he left Auburn and went to Alabama.
Well, if you go back and look on Auburn comments about Blake Barnett when the Elite 11 quarterback came to Alabama and he threw up on the first game and got benched for Jalen Hurts, I'm sure there were some funny comments then too. It's part of the rivalry.
Oh, it is. Hey, what did I say at the beginning of this? I know it's a rivalry, but if he didn't come from Auburn, Alabama fans would be like, why are we recruiting this guy that shot?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's an Auburn guy makes Alabama fans happy. You trust that Nate Oates sees potential in him that he thinks he can get out of him.
Yeah.
And I'll go yellow flag. I want to see him do it.
Okay, wait. I want you to answer this. Michael said, "Who has the brightest green light for shooting, Oates or Pearl?" I don't know. But
I think the styles are different, right? The styles are different. And you look at last year's team at Auburn, a lot of it ran through a center and a forward, right? You had our shooting guard and Baker Mazzara and Janai Broom. Alabama's offense doesn't run through the post like that. They don't have Janai Broom down there. And when they had Bediako, that's just not the way Nate Oates plays. So Nate Oates plays, it runs through the perimeter. So it does look more free-flowing. But if the open shot was there, I think Auburn, when they were playing some of their best basketball, they were hitting their threes. They were shooting the ball better from outside. So it is 2 different styles. I don't think it necessarily means that the coaches don't want you to not shoot the shots you're supposed to shoot. They're just different offenses.
Okay. Okay, we talked about this briefly earlier, but I'll let you touch on it again because
this is uncorked, by the way.
Yeah, this is uncorked, and I'm trying not to get too...
Like and subscribe. Usually this podcast is not always sports heavy. There's a ton of stuff on here with Taylor. She's the host. I'm just making my second appearance.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm
betting it's the 2 most watched shows to date, but
yeah, it probably will be, Dunaway. You're a hot commodity.
I'm the Brie chicken fry of Uncorked.
Oh, funny to bring her up. Okay, you talked about this a little bit earlier, but I can't really speak on this. Will you please I guess, reverse a little, would he still play a lot of Sears' back?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Alabama had. I mean, if you look, Grant Nelson brought the ball up the floor. Estrada brought the ball up the floor. Mark brought the ball up the floor. They don't necessarily have a true point guard situation. So Sears can be on the floor, and Aden Holloway can be on the floor, just like Estrada was out there all the time. But again, that's going to have to be, is Aden Holloway going to be okay with it not being a true point guard situation? Nate Oates probably knows the answer to that. I don't. If Mark is back, I think, yeah, there's a place for Aden Holloway on the floor. The guy's so good with the basketball in his hand, and maybe that takes a little pressure off of Mark, and he can, once it gets in his hands, he can go into his shot creation again. But I don't know. I've got to see him be productive at the SEC level, because all due respect to those that handle recruiting services, sometimes, just like in the NFL draft, which happens Thursday night, there are people projected and they don't pan out in the NFL. This kid was projected really high and did not pan out at Auburn. So to me, you got to go prove it now that you're as good as you were projected to be, and here's your second chance at Alabama. And it's not like you're going down to Furman or to Chattanooga or to Ohio. You're going to the team that was in the Final Four that'll be picked, some say, number 1 in the country to start next season. I bet there'll be a top 5, top 10 team preseason rankings. They're already in the way too early bracketology as a 1 seed. So now you're walking in where you were a shit show last year when you were on the court most of the time, to having to fit into a program that's got to be, a 1 seed preseason ranking going in. You got to grow up fast, and you got to get a lot better. You better be in the gym shooting, and you better correct that problem and get everything going right, or you're going to get left behind.
Do you think Roll Tide Willie helped in his recruitment?
I'm gonna pass on that.
You plead the fifth.
You owe $1 in our next round jar every time anybody mentions Roll Tide.
I thought it was Taylor Swift.
You got to pay a penalty.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go look at my phone and see what he's saying about Bruce and Steven, because if he's actually saying things, then I'm probably gonna get a little. My Twitter fingers will be
in use.
Active.
Yeah,
but
my official stance, wait and see. Let's wait and see if this is as big as it feels to some of you today. My choice is I want Mark Sears back. I would love to have Estrada back, but he's out of eligibility. I want Grant Nelson back. I love the recruits that are coming in. Great recruiting classes coming in. I love the Millette kid from Pepperdine. I like the young blood kid from USF. Those guys produced at their schools. This kid didn't produce at Auburn, so I'm gonna go wait and see on him.
But Alabama fans are thrilled because they took an Auburn recruit or an Auburn transfer. So congratulations to you and your team for your accomplishment. Okay.
I get to hold the Western Regional Championship trophy.
Yeah, apparently anyone can if they just walk in there. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
And give her a thumbs up.
Yeah, and Dunaway. And I hope that y'all have a good rest of your Saturday night. Goodbye.
This is Uncorked.
Oh, great logo. Field goal.